The scandal rocking the WWE has quickly raised a number of questions, including how will it affect the WWE, Vince McMahon, his family, and wrestling in general. It's also raising an equally important question: is there a power struggle to oust the McMahons from the company that they built? Join us now as we look at why the WWE McMahon family empire is finished. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our non-wrestling channel, Incredible. Now first, the allegations. Now we discussed the details of our story in our daily news video as well as our website, but here's a quick summary of the story. The Wall Street Journal article, which reported the WWE's board of directors a secret $3 million settlement that longtime chief executive Vince McMahon agreed to pay to a departing employee with whom he allegedly had an affair, according to documents and people familiar with the board inquiry. The article states that the board began its investigation in April and discovered other non-disclosure agreements, aka NDAs, with other female ex-WWE employees. These agreements reportedly concerned Vince McMahon and the WWE's head of talent relations, John Laurinaitis. Firstly, the great unknowns. Now there are several factors that remain unresolved. The first is whether Vince McMahon used any WWE funds to pay for the settlement. If so, this would likely expose McMahon to charges that he's breached his fiduciary duties to the WWE as CEO. The second is the WWE's articles of incorporation and any corporate policies regarding a situation such as this. The hashtag #MeToo movement has not only heightened awareness of people using roles of authority to sexually harass or assault those in roles of less authority, but also established higher standards for those in authority. Finally, there is the question of what the misconduct was that individuals were compensated for and for which they signed non-disclosure agreements. If any of these incidents involved criminal activity, it would obviously have worse consequences than just harassment. At this point, the scandal is being investigated by an independent law firm, which will hopefully uncover more details. How could this affect the WWE? The WWE has been performing well as a stock, despite many other stocks suffering in the current bear market. However, the news of the current scandal could lead to a decline or even sharp decline in its value. This will likely depend on two things. Number one, what the investigation of the payouts uncovers, and number two, how the WWE handles the problem. If the WWE does nothing to resolve any documented problems, it opens itself for future litigation and can see its stock value decline due to negative publicity. A related matter is the WWE's image as a family-friendly corporation. Professional wrestling has always been looked down upon, even during wrestling's peaks in popularity. If the investigation reveals a corporate culture that looked the other way at misconduct, it could harm the WWE's reputation, leading to advertisers pulling out and TV partners passing on the product or even offering less for rights fees. Now currently Vince McMahon stands to lose a lot right now, including his position as CEO, control of the company he spent 4 decades building up from a regional promotion to a global entertainment empire. Worse, Mr. McMahon could even be forced to sell his stock. On a personal note, McMahon could even face a divorce. McMahon losing his role of CEO seems likely unless the stories of so-called hush money payouts turn out to be inaccurate. McMahon could fight to stay as CEO, but the WWE's board, not to mention its stockholders, would see him as a liability if the allegations prove true. The WWE is continuing to make the right moves in terms of protecting its image, as seen by the following news from WrestleVotes. According to WWE Corporate, Vince McMahon has voluntarily stepped back from his responsibilities as CEO and chairman of the board until the conclusion of the investigation. Stephanie McMahon will now serve as interim CEO and interim chairwoman. The embattled McMahon could lose control of his company, and again, a finding that he engaged in misconduct, particularly if it's related to him abusing his role as CEO of the company, would all but force out the WWE to relieve him of any power, whether it's in its creative or as CEO. As we've noted in our website, Vince McMahon might try to use proxies to influence decisions, particularly creative ones. If this surreptitious control was somehow uncovered, it would damage the WWE's reputation. Worst of all, McMahon could lose ownership in his company. While there are many factors in this possible outcome, including the ones discussed earlier, the WWE's board of directors could force Vince to sell his stock. While this might seem extreme, it is possible, and there may even be one or more individuals in the WWE trying to usurp the control of the corporation. The scandal could affect McMahon's personal life, as rumors have been circulating for some time that Vince and Linda McMahon have lived apart for some time and have split up. Dave Meltzer recently commented on this saying, "Technically they're married. I mean, they haven't been together in a long time though." While the McMahons may have decided not to divorce due to financial considerations, this latest scandal could convince Linda to divorce Vince, particularly if the scandal gives her a better standing in court. So is this a power play in the WWE? With both Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis coming under fire for the hush money scandal, there are whispers of a possible power struggle in the WWE. WrestleVotes posted a timeline which is either a series of unfortunate events for anyone with the last name of McMahon or a sign someone has worked to help the McMahons out of the WWE. January 29th, Vince and Shane Rumble spat, Shane removed from further plans. March 25th, Triple H reveals health details, announces his in-ring retirement. May 19th, Stephanie announces she is taking a leave of absence from the company. June 15th, WSJ drops allegations on Vince of a money secret hush pact. Now there seems to be a pattern of McMahons being eased out of the company, and while patterns should be rigorously examined, there are other factors to consider, including who has been leaking information that is detrimental to the McMahon family and who stands to gain from disparaging the family and possibly the company itself. There are rumors that someone in the WWE leaked the details of the board of directors investigation into the Wall Street Journal, with Dave Meltzer speculating it may have been a WWE board member. Obviously, there's the big question of who on the board of directors leaked it. You know, whatever, I mean, it's a question, but I think it was probably somebody on the board. It may have been the person who leaked it to the board and then leaking it to the Wall Street Journal, finding out the dates and everything, and then being told that from the outside. Now, it's entirely possible that someone besides a board member leaked the story. Individuals looking to get ahead in the corporate world have been known to use whistleblowers to take out a rival, with whistleblower laws providing more protection for the employees who reveal misconduct, i.e. protecting them from being fired or allowing compensation for unlawful termination. An individual may be persuaded to help out a higher-up looking to take someone else out. Now, this isn't the first time someone has leaked a story to the press, casting the McMahons in a bad light. Not too long ago, someone leaked a story to Business Insider that suggested Stephanie McMahon wasn't performing up to expectations, hence her decision to walk away from her role as Chief Brand Officer. While there have been denials that Stephanie left for any other reason than her stated reason to spend time with her family, we asked why Stephanie didn't do this when Triple H faced life-threatening health problems last year. Meltzer continued his analysis. The fact of the investigation and everything seems to indicate that somebody on the board did leak the news. And so you've got 12 people there. Obviously Vince didn't, so you've got 11 people there that you can look at, and whatever, it could be one of those, but we don't have an answer obviously. As for how the WWE's board of directors learned of the hush money, the journal noted, our board members learned of the $3 million agreement in the series of anonymous emails they received from someone who said the former WWE paralegal was a friend. The email pulls no punches about the allegations, as the Wall Street Journal reports. The first email, sent to the board members on March 30th, alleged that Mr. McMahon, 76 years old, initially hired a woman at a salary of $100,000 but increased it to $200,000 after beginning a sexual relationship with her. The email to the board also alleged that Mr. McMahon gave her like a toy to Mr. Laurinaitis. The board is investigating the allegations in the email, the people familiar with the inquiry said. The evidence needs further analysis before concluding someone is out to remove the McMahons from the WWE. Nonetheless, it's something which needs to be explored. Motives for an ouster include someone thinking that they can do better with the WWE than the McMahons, someone looking to buy the company at a lower price by damaging the stock during the scandal and hoping it gives up, or someone looking to sell the company who sees a sale as unlikely as long as Vince McMahon is in control. Now, things have taken an interesting turn with the appointment of Stephanie McMahon as interim CEO and chairwoman. If someone is trying to oust Vince from the company, is it possible he had Stephanie appointed in order to protect his interests? Stephanie has gained an image as a friendly face for the company and someone who has championed the WWE's self-proclaimed women's movement. The board may feel she's a good look and even an eventual replacement for the company while it waits for the investigation into Mr. McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and the WWE's corporate culture as it relates to protecting individuals from predatory behavior. But what about the harm to wrestling? Finally, this scandal could hurt all of wrestling as the public re-examines some of wrestling's more sordid stories. Even if wrestling continues to provide good ratings, its perception by advertisers is what matters, and if advertisers aren't willing to pay top dollar for wrestling, a network is less likely to carry it. What do you guys think of the story? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.